can't see it, Mr. President, but I am bowing in your presence.
As long as there's nothing weird going on with your body or clothing, then they're all right.
Easy, come on.
Friday, I'm gonna drop some material off on my way home about an hour from now. So, you know.
This is the PG call, Mr. DeWitt.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
ICT, is that Paul Zaffarana?
Yes, it is.
Hey, welcome, Paul.
Hello.
Hey, Paul, I'm going to put myself on mute here because people are pulling out some mowing that's going on behind me somewhere. So,
all right.
Unfortunately, I'll be on listen mode, but if you need me, yell and I'll unmute.
Okay. Yeah, just *6 when you want to jump in. She muted all of us.
Do we, I know Jenny's not coming, and then is Valerie on the line? I'm going to take that as a no.
Yeah, is Valerie on this call?
Was she invited, Paul, or no?
I believe she was.
Was she?
I thought she was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's 11:32, so Dave Glazer is busy.
Hi, it's Valerie.
Hey, there's Valerie.
Just speaking of you, look at that. Nice timing. Okay, so I think we have everybody but Jenny, who's not going to come. She had a prior commitment, so let's get going because Dave's got to go sell some magnets. He's a very, very, very busy guy. So what we have, we've been working a little bit behind the scenes to kind of craft a list. Paul Kiwi did a good job of creating a list, and it was probably more for me than him to keep me in line because he's so good at this stuff. So we have a list that we've been working off of, and the purpose of today's call is to get everybody up to speed since we've finally got everyone on the line and at the same time, and get everyone up to speed, divvy up some remaining tasks, and go from there. So this has quickly come upon us. It's August, and October seems so far away 6 months ago, and now it's here. So I'm going to get right to the list, and I'll let you guys know what we still need help with. But first thing on the list is to finalize the speaker/education fashion show awards presentation. So what we've discussed from an executive committee standpoint is we're having a hard time getting a speaker lined up, and then the speakers that we wanted were really expensive, and the thought was we really weren't sure if last year's education was a draw because of the content and speaker, or we just got lucky because people wanted to get to Ford Field early, and oh, by the way, there was an education seminar. So we've thrown out the idea, and Sarah and Alex. Hello?
Yeah, this is Paul Zaffarana. From a standpoint of that, the client that I brought over there to that actually came to hear Paul Bellantone speak.
And we're gonna, that's gonna be, there's gonna be some people that were there for it. And I mean, in any situation, we're not gonna make everybody happy. So what we've decided, because it was Paul Bellantone, there's too many Pauls in this industry. Paul Bellantone wasn't available. We tried to get Dave Tier from MIPA University, who we're using. He wasn't available. Any big name speakers that we wanted just went way over budget and really weren't related to the industry. So we've decided to look at having a fashion show in its place. So Valerie and Sarah are working on that right now to put together the budget, put together the concept to see if this would be a viable option, and we can move forward with that. So the thought behind this was everybody. We got such a great crowd in the beginning, and I think it would maximize exposure for suppliers. We can make it where it's fun, it's educational as well, and we have everybody that's going to be wanting to get into the show. We can have them looking at the fashion show. So that's the thinking right now, depending upon what Sarah and Valerie come up with. So if Sarah or Valerie, if you guys want to give us kind of an update on how that's going. I know you're still in the beginning stages, but if you guys want to take a few minutes and enlighten us on what's going on there, now's the time.
So Valerie and I are meeting at Ford Field on Monday to meet with Katie, who's our Ford Field contact, and go over a couple things, because we figured first start, let's get down there and see if it's even possible to hold something like this there, where we could have staging and all the things that go into that. And then Mike, who's another contact who's done, I guess, a lot for us in the past, and does staging and lighting and puts on shows like this. And Dave gave me his information, is meeting us as well. So we'll have more of an idea of, where the show can be held, if it actually can be held, what our costs are going to be, like what will Ford Field provide for us, if, is there even an area to put the staging, et cetera, on Monday. And that's kind of the first start. Until then, I've just kind of been noting everything that I think of, and Valerie and I talked about like theme ideas and all of that, but anything like the costs that go into it, what it's going to take to put it on, what we're going to need from suppliers, how we go about it, et cetera. Just kind of got a whole tally going of all this stuff.
Sure. Okay. So then on Monday, it'll give Katie and Mike more of an idea, and then they can come back with costs and plans and stuff, right?
Right. Yes, because we really can't do much until we even know it's possible to be held, and if there, where the area is that it can be held, or, that could also determine what time it is, or how long the show is going to have to be, and all of that.
Okay, that's good. Paul K., when we did the education last year, did that start at 9:00?
I believe it was 9:30.
Okay. And then the show started at, was it 10:30?
Show's from 11 to 3.
11 to 3, okay. So that would be the plan, to position the fashion show in place of education, so we kind of have all these fish in a barrel.
But,
so,
John,
yeah.
This is Valerie. Can I interrupt for a second? Do we have to have it first thing in the morning?
So
we don't have to, but from a supplier standpoint, and when I looked at the crowd last year that were waiting to get into the show, and if we can have that fashion show there where we already have the stage, and that's where you guys are going to tell us where it's going to be. But I think in the beginning it's going to interrupt the show less than having it in the middle or even at the end.
So Valerie and I talked about this too, and the timing of this, I guess, is something that we'll have to all talk and consider more once we figure out the logistics of it. But ideally, at the end of the show would be best, but that's not going to happen because nobody's around at the end of the show. I feel like there was a huge crowd in the beginning of the show last year, but I think that a lot of it was because people wanted to get there so they could start their day and get it over with. So those people aren't around in the end, but we also kind of considered doing it in the middle of the day, because that way people that come in the morning see it before they go, and the people in the that come in the afternoon see it when they get there. I understand, and there's been some suppliers who actually give or take, there's going to be pros and cons to whatever time we put it at, but that think that's a better idea as well. But then I understand it also takes people off the floor, and it could be chaotic. So,
well, and also I just would like to add that the end users are not distributors. They're not working the show the same way. Many of them come for the morning or come for the afternoon. They don't come for the entire day. There are some that do. I'm not saying they're not, but I had 16 people there last year, and either they came in the morning or they came in the afternoon. They didn't come for the entire day. So I would hate for people to miss the show because they can't get there till the afternoon, and we only are doing it in the morning. And I think we need to look at it a little bit different because we are catering to end users, not to distributors who are working the show to find, new product. It's a different clientele.
Agree.
This,
But I mean, but
this
then you also think
yeah.
if we're
This
putting
is
it
Paul
on, the
Zaffarano.
amount of work that it goes on, into it, then it's kind of like it kind of messes us up for the day, too. I mean, I guess the location of it is really going to determine or really help with the timing of it. Who wants to see a fashion show first thing in the morning? But if it has to be that way.
But you've got everybody there that made an effort to get there early enough for the event, and you've got them staged there. And as John said, it's fish in a barrel. You've got 300 or 400 people there, staged, ready to go. That you essentially have to entertain them. And that area that we used for the cocktail reception last year, that was kind of that gathering space off to the right. You've got them in a corral there, and if you set up what do you call that in the fashion world? That runway. You set the runway up that goes down there through the middle of it and do the fashion show through there. Once the shows open up, that can be torn down and set up after the fact because you have to stage it for high tops and couches and stuff like that for use during the course of the day. It'd be nice to have everybody to see it, but it really doesn't lend itself to having a show throughout the course of the day because you've only got 4 hours of the show in and of itself. So
the other thing we have to keep in mind too is the tours are running throughout the day as well. So
right.
if we have a fashion show that's going to take 45 minutes at, let's say, 12 o'clock, and that's going to pull some people off the floor, and then we have a tour that is going to pull people off again for another 45 minutes. From a supplier standpoint, I'm going to be a little upset that there's an hour and a half to 2 hours out of a 4-hour show or 5-hour show where I'm not going to be able to see people. Because it's not a cheap show. Granted, I'm buying 6 booths, but whatever it is, the investment is not cheap. So we have to look at it from every single angle, and I think the angle that needs to be taken into consideration is from a supplier standpoint that they're giving their goods and they want the maximum exposure. How do we maximize the exposure for the supplier?
Right. And it's all understandable. Ideally, also depending on who our models are, I would love, if we haven't decided, is that something we're going to pay for or not or what it is, but if they're extra people, I would hope, and it would be awesome to have them in everything, even the hard goods, throughout the day, and so that it's, people can continue to see them and the stuff that they're carrying, whether it's apparel or hard goods. So
yeah. The other thing too we have to realize is who's going to run it. That's the other thing in the afternoon. If it's Valerie and I doing this, let's be real. We're not gonna. It'd be a lot to stop everybody in their tracks to get everything ready for that. Yeah. So then you have to come off the floor as well, and the 16 people, Valerie, that let's say you have those another 16 people this year, then you're off the floor too.
Right.
For
right.
2 or 3
but
hours.
I also have planned to have more people on my team to work with my clients. I see it as another way to, if people are going to stop for lunch, we can do box lunches where they pick up lunch. While they're eating lunch, they can watch the fashion show, which they would be off the floor anyway eating lunch. So you can kind of tie it into a lunch, a lunch time as well. So if they're eating lunch, they're going to be off the floor anyway.
Yeah, I get it. I see all sides to it. I think what we should do is let's see what comes back, because we spent 10 minutes talking about something that might not happen. So let's see what you guys come up with on Wednesday or on Monday through your meetings, and let's make sure we can do this first, because that might even change the dynamic of where it's at, how much does it cost. So let's let's follow up on this when you guys have more information, and then we can determine the time and go from there. So let's first make sure we can do it, and then we'll discuss where it goes. Fair enough?
Sounds perfect. Sure.
Okay. All right. So that was the first thing. We'll look for an update from Valerie and Sarah next week. Another item was to review and select the decorator. So Paul did a good job. Sent out RFQs to the incumbent as well as two others that were known, and based on all the information that we got back, we ended up selecting Fairway again. They came in at a very reasonable price. There are expectations down. We have history there. We don't need any hiccups. So we've decided to move forward with that decorator. So we're all set there. I know everybody was on the edge of their seats for that announcement. So that has been taken care of, everybody. Trade show committee conference call, we have that. We're doing that right now. We'll set up another one. I would say, Paul, if you want to do it. Sarah, do you think you'll have enough information back within 2 weeks if we had another call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I would hope that we can finalize a lot of this before then.
Okay. All right. So, Paul K., if you want to make a note to send out one of your doodle things for the next, maybe 2 weeks from today-ish.
Okay.
The biggest thorn in our side last year, and Paul Z will be relieved. The registration process, at least the badges, was a complete nightmare. And we have, last year at LDW, during our little vendor presentation, we discovered that Sage has a complimentary software for registration, and we took advantage of that. Paul and I have been working with Jennifer at Sage, and now Paul and Jennifer have struck up a great relationship. So we're testing that out with the Ideas in Bloom show next week, or in 2 weeks, in Grand Rapids. And so far, so good. So we're going to...
No late-night Kinko runs?
I mean, if you want to, we can hold some back, 'cause I know you were looking forward to that, Paul.
Hey, I missed dinner last year because of that.
Yeah, you did.
So we want you there this time at the pre-party. So we have outsourced that to Sage. We're outsourced that to Sage, so the guinea pig is going to be the Grand Rapids show. And luckily, we're not the first ones to try this out, so it sounds like it's going to work pretty smoothly. If everything goes well in Grand Rapids, we're already working on the finishing touches for promotions at Roar. So it's really nice software package. No cost to us except the badges. We gave them a deadline. They're going to print off the badges, FedEx them to us. So all we have to do is just put them on the table and hand them out. It'll be nice and easy. The software comes with invitations, goes to distributors. Distributors can send those out to end users, and pretty clean and cut. So that is a big relief off of all of our shoulders for that piece. Next on the list, creating brochures, exhibitor, distributor brochures. So Paul K., if you want to touch on this a little bit, this is your area.
Yeah, and T's listening in, and she did post up the current artwork for this year's show. So if anybody wants to have a link to that, it's up in the chat box on the side. The biggest thing is we really need to finalize the go no go on the fashion show or professional development, so I can finish marketing the show both to all three of our audiences. For suppliers, we've got 70 signed up. I'd like to get to 100. We have 70 booths sold. I'd like to get to 120. We had originally had the price to jump to $1,300 on September 1st. I think we may want to rethink that, maybe move it out to October 1st before the final price jump.
Paul, do you have a list of, with those suppliers that you're trying to jump from 70 to 120 on, of some that have either been there or not that we could divide and conquer and make some calls on for you?
I certainly can put that together, and I appreciate the offer.
Okay.
I believe last year we just did the PDF for the supplier's brochure, and then they could view it, print it out, and so on. I don't remember us printing these. I've got it up on the screen if anybody's on this on webinar format. But we had sponsorship opportunities last year, which we didn't sell any. I think that's probably kind of a stretch from where we're at. We should probably look at what we want to offer. We talked about charging for donating like the lanyards and lip balms, and we really didn't get much tape pickup on that either. I'd rather just have lots of giveaways than trying to make money an additional $100, particularly if we're looking at 1,000, hopefully more than 1,000 people through that. Just the giveaway by itself is a pretty big investment from our suppliers. We were able to sell the entrance banner last year and made nice money on that, and that could be something that I continue to offer. But again, I need to get on that, and it kind of ties in with the fashion show again. If we're having the fashion show, some suppliers may want to have extras that they throw to the crowd or give out at the fashion show. So that piece is really becoming critical for us. Last year, our schedule of events where we had exhibitors set up from 1 to 5 on the show floor. That again is going to be available. Might start setting up at 1, so we encourage suppliers to start a little bit later. Then they can also set up from 7 to 11. We had, we'll be eliminating the after show thing. Got the headquarters hotel, and our room block's only for a month before, so that will be ending like September 7. So that is something to get on as well. For a distributor brochure, we don't necessarily, we don't necessarily have to have it printed unless we want to do, and I think I would encourage doing a distributor mailing with it. Last year we included a membership application and a letter emphasizing that it's members only, and we generated something like 40 new members from it. So definitely worth doing that.
That end user one that was going out for distributors, has that been considered at all for distributors to be able, and say it's got an area that's editable PDF that you can go in and upload your logo to invite your clients to, if you don't do a very crazy invitation on your own end, but you wanted something that was PDFable for distributors to use to invite their clients to it?
Doing it in an editable PDF form so they can drop their
a PDF so that you can take and drop your logo in and your contact information on as a distributor to forward to get more end users there. If you don't want to go through the time or the expense of creating an actual invitation to it, where some people may do that or they may do a phone call, but it's another resource for the distributors to use to get more attendees there.
Yeah.
I think that we should have like a downloadable one-pager for everything and any type of information on the website, whether it's for suppliers or distributors. And even if it is just the information for the show that's going out to clients, people that can copy and paste that and put it in an email to send.
Yeah, I was about to say. Oh, sorry. This is T.
I think you got to have one version for each one for distributors and one for clients, because it's a different message going out there.
Just simple and easy though, and just literally like a one-pager with all information, even if it's parking information. Because I had to create all that for our company last year, just whether it was for our salespeople as reminders or for their clients, and it just made it a lot easier. So if we could do something like this year and just have it on our website, that'd be awesome.
T, what have you been doing with PPAF?
I was about to say I have quite a bit of experience with this because I did this for SAGME as well, going back quite a bit. We found that when you do have things that people are supposed to edit, that almost scares them away as well. So going the route of doing something really nice, simple JPEGs that you can just insert into an email and send it out as like a little invitation, so someone can just type in whatever they want to underneath, works. It seemed to be more palatable to most. I mean, we certainly can offer them that editable artwork, right, for those who are willing to take on the challenge. But the editable kind of PDF kind of thing, if we found that it wasn't getting used a whole heck of a lot, you know.
Yeah, I see that happening.
A lot easier. So I'm happy to set up however you guys want it done. Just let me know what goes on it. I'll make it look great.
Paul, what's on the Sage invitation that distributors can send out to end users? Is there anything with information or a link that we could include? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I was just thinking that's a great question for Jennifer Bingham.
Yeah.
You know, I know with EventSpot, I'm able to make a lot of links, you know, for more information, click here, and it brings to different landing pages. I would assume, and that's always dangerous, that, you know, Sages has that same capability, but I really don't remember.
Yeah, because that might knock out a lot right there, because I know they have the invitation capability to end users, and then the end user can register, and the distributor gets an email, and we can probably embed a link to a PDF that gives them all the details Paul was talking about.
But anyway, I will plan on giving key direction for a new distributor brochure and new end user brochure and some of those tools. I'm assuming once again we're going to want to do the personalized locker plates, the champion suites and the MVP suites. I think we can probably forego the MIPA suite unless we can think of a way of reinventing that.
From the locker room standpoint, with whoever's doing the badges on that, is there a way? I was disappointed in what the locker room headers were. It was just a paper printout. I was, for what they spent on it, I was figuring it was going to be more of a heavier plastic or a harder plastic type of thing that they could take and use that way. That's just my feedback on those locker room headers that they did last year. If there's a way to do them as a...
you know, I'm pretty sure what we got is the stock thing that Ford Field offers. And we could ask Katie if we can upgrade it if we want. Or we can make it a benefit for just the suite holders or something.
Yeah, we should find that out. Yeah, I agree, Paul. I was a little bit disappointed too that it was just paper.
Yeah, it was for $20. You got this piece of paper that was tattered on one end if you got it, or folded in half if you got it, if they didn't pick it up when they were there, versus it being a rigid piece that was in there that actually had some substance to it that they could put on their wall or their desk or hang, something like that. And I don't know if it made sense to go to somebody like Dixie Line or some of those aluminum signs and have those made up in advance and have our cutoff date be, you know, X amount of time before the event to actually have those there in a metal sign or something to that effect. It's just a thought.
Yep. Sarah or Valerie, since you're meeting with Katie on Monday, would you mind asking her if we could upgrade the locker plates and if there's a cost to that?
Yep, no problem.
Sure.
I will put it on my question list.
Okay, thank you.
And Paul, you mentioned a couple of potential suppliers who might we might be able to work with if you'd want to check with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if if they're supplying them, Ford Field may charge they charge us $5 right now for printing it and putting it up. They may charge us a couple bucks for putting it up, but it's worth looking into.
Yeah, I don't even have mine from last year still because it was paper and it just got pitched. Can we get the dimensions on that when you guys are down there on Monday? On what those sizes are, and I can get it spec'd out.
Yeah, I've still got mine. I can measure it and send it over to you.
Thank you.
All right, so brochures, talked about that. Save the date magnets and mailers. Are we going to do that again this year, Paul?
Is Dave still on the phone?
Yep.
Glazer?
Yep, still here.
Can I hit you up for a donation?
Yeah, how many you guys looking to do?
I'd have to look what we did last year, but probably the same numbers. I think it was a couple thousand.
Fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think we did the postcard and the magnet, and you guys paid for the postage.
We paid the postage, right?
Yep, we'll do the same thing.
Okay. And for the others on the call, if you can think of other creative dimensional mailings, that we might be able to get a donation from one of our exhibiting suppliers, let me know. Last year we did have Black Forest. What's the name of that? The printer that does the personalized mailings, where they drop the person's name into a picture of the field.
We did that last year?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That sounds cool.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah,
that one.
How much did we pay for that? And did it go out to everybody?
It went out to one of the PPAI or SAGE mailing lists. It had a picture of Ford Field and it had "Welcome Paul Kiwi" across the front.
Do you remember how much we paid for it?
We traded out a booth space for it, so it was $1,000.
Okay.
All right, so thanks, Dave, for that. Distributor promotion tools, we just talked about that. We're going to look into Sage. Paul, do you have a call coming up with Jennifer where you can ask her about that invitation?
I can make that happen.
Okay. Direct mail pieces.
Dude, we're using the save the dates for the distributors right now, and I know Dave Glazer's on here. What would it take? I'm throwing out an idea here for a distributor to use for a similar type of piece that they could brand and mail out, where they're going to do 25 pieces maybe, that they could piggyback onto this other mailer. I don't know if that was even an option, or if we could charge for that for distributors to buy it. What could we create for them to buy or buy into to do something like that, or is that asking for too much of a headache?
Well, I think the hard part is you would absolutely have to have a deadline, to get all the artwork in. You look at, different fees now that are copy change charges and things like that you're adding per distributor. So, while we're doing a bulk run of, say, 1,000 for MIPA, and then you want to add, 10 different distributors sign up for it, and they each want 25, so that's 250 pieces, but with 10 different art changes. It's a possibility. I might have to get a quote to get you what the pricing would be. I really don't know off the top of my head. But I think it also depends on, we have a copy change charge fee, obviously, so it shouldn't be a problem, but the problem would be doing it on the magnet and doing it on the postcard. I think it would probably have to be probably just the postcard, to be honest with you. But, it's something we can look at. If there's a big enough draw for that.
That'd be okay. I'm just thinking of as a service that we could sell and offer to distributors. Again, those may not always have the means or the resources to do it, or they don't want to come up with the invitation. But I don't know, T, you've done a bunch of these before. Have you seen any other folks using them that way to do exactly that, where if we created the ear for it and the magnet's got all the same imprint on it, but the postcard has, the distributor information on it, or it's got the Well, one is geared towards distributors, one's geared towards the end user, where it's essentially just a copy change, and we drop in their information into it, which makes it very simple for them to do.
It's a great idea, so, whether it's that or even like if we charge them to just edit the invite that we already have. If it doesn't work on the magnet mailing order, that would be, I mean, that could be another way where we could just, send your logo, as long as it's all streamlined somehow in information. And I mean,
they would have to
I could spend a Saturday doing that.
They would have to send a logo, and they'd have to send a mailing letter. So the distributor would have to send you. So you're saying you would want the distributor's logo. So Mercury, for example, would have, the exact same invite, but it says Mercury on it. It cordially invites you to blah blah blah. And is that pretty much what you're saying? And then Mercury would order however many they want of them.
Right.
Either that, or even if it's just personalizing, whether it's the email that sends, just because what's been said, people don't necessarily, they get scared when you see something that says, you can edit this or change this. Or actually, let's be real, a lot of people will just send it as is, not realize that they needed to edit it. So even if it's the magnet order, that's a mailing order, and if we got all the information for that, or, even if it was a mailing, and the information to mail it, or just as simple as we'll design the email and you just click forward.
Yeah, I guess let me know what you guys want, and then I'll definitely, look at quoting it out, whatever you guys decide. I mean, if you're looking at, making money off of it for MIPA, I can get you a quote, let you know what it costs, and I would just, for the copy change charges and things like that, those additional fees, I would obviously charge you guys that, and then you can decide to mark it up however you want to. And, if you want to do it, what I would recommend is I would do it as a package deal. So, like, you either order 25 or you order 50. Like, you can't order 8 or you can't order, like, 27. Right. Like, you need to order, like, it's like price per quantity breaks. So.
Dave, what's the minimum?
It becomes Go ahead.
Dave, what's the minimum? If, let's just say a distributor wanted to order their own magnets, what's the minimum on a magnet that we're talking about?
I mean, if it's just by yourself, if you're just ordering one for yourself and you want us to mail it for you too, or, I mean, that's another thing is, are you going to give us a list of your clients and you want us to mail to your end users, or do you want us to mail the distributor's package of their 50 to them, to the distributor? I guess I'm unsure what you guys want to do there too.
Because what I'm
go with just make it.
Go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead, John. No, my thought was doing it. Go ahead, John.
No, you go. I like your voice better.
I'll send you a voiceover.
Talk really slow.
Taking that same piece and just soup to nuts. They give you the list, they give you the logo and the mailing list, and it's just handled from there on out. But I agree with the 25, 50, or 75 pieces. It becomes a profit center then that we can upsell to distributors to use. They may or may not want to be able to go and do this, but they can't go out right now and buy 25 pieces of the same thing, or they have to go through and create the art. They have to create all the copy and buy a couple hundred pieces of it versus buying 25 or 50. So it gives us a little wiggle room to make some money off the distributors without necessarily breaking their backs in doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine if we do. To answer your question, John, if you were just to say, hey, I want a postcard with a magnet on it and I want it mailed to myself and I'll distribute it myself, the minimum on something like that is 250 pieces. So the fact that we're doing a bulk run together is kind of what what Paul was saying. It's going to be a nice benefit that you guys can sell. And since we're grouping them together in one run, it's just copy change charge for us. So we'll look at basically what's going to be very important is the artwork that you guys decide to do. You're going to have to leave a blank spot, or you're going to have to leave some artwork, some areas on the artwork to drop in a logo. So remember that when you're creating the artwork for this.
Okay, so let's move on. Are we good with the magnets?
Yeah, just give me what you guys want. Once you guys decide as a unit what MIPA wants to do with this, what you guys decide, if it's 25, 50, blah, 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 whatever you decide, let me know what you want, and then I'll get a quote for you guys.
Okay. All right, Paul Z, you want to run with that one?
Yes. Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. All right, that's all right. I was going to accept your silence as a yes anyway, so that's fine. All right, create webinar content and schedule. So we can look at that as we move closer. I think Paul had a great idea last year. We did a webinar and explained the parking, explained the rules. Even though we had everything written, we read the rules out loud. So that seemed to work good. We can record. I don't know if we recorded it last year.
Yep.
I think we did. We can record it again. This way we need 7 different versions. So I think we can put that one on the back burner for now. Signage, banners, and directionals. I know Mr. President and I worked on the directionals last year. So David DeWitt, we can take that one again if you want.
I'm yours to be had there, John.
Okay, I appreciate that. So signage and banners, is this something we're looking at, Paul K., to have sponsorships again, or what's your thought behind signage and banners?
Yeah, I think it's worth trying to sell the entry banner again. Any sponsorship areas in that area is something that has a value that's like worth charging extra for.
Okay. Who did the sign last year? Amerifoam?
Amerifoam was a sponsor.
Did we give them the banner back?
Dave, do you know if it's in the warehouse, or did we give it to them?
No, I'm pretty sure we gave it back to them since they paid for it. We said, hey, you get it. So, but we still charge them to put it up, I would think.
Right.
Yeah.
If they have it.
I mean,
can't remember. Did it say 2014 on it? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Most of our artwork had the date on it, so.
Yeah, I think it was just an advertising for them. So I'm not opposed to, if you want to make a quick buck, giving them a discount since they already have the banner made. They sponsored it last year, going to them first, giving them the first right of refusal and say, hey, you get first dibs. If it's normally $900, you want to do it for insert cost here, and we might be able to get it sold fast. Instead of waiting for somebody to pay $900, you might be able to get them to pay $500 or $600 to do it again.
Sounds good.
Next on the list, large distributor calls. So, Paul, what do you mean by this one? Us calling to try and get distributors to come
and promote the hospitality suites.
Okay. We have how many sold already? 2?
I'm assuming both Mercury and Lasting Impressions are coming back. Both expressed interest in it, and and SMG is once again doing a parking lot trailer.
Okay. So I know what helped last time, and I know Dave talked about it in his meetings. I talked about it in my meetings. We can talk about with Brian DeBatis. It's easy for the suppliers to talk about it, and we'll bring it up at the board meeting too, that I think, we're the only 3 suppliers. So I think between the 3 of us, we're already doing it. A lot of people are already asking me if we're doing it again, so the buzz is definitely been created. So once we have the updated distributor brochure, we can start to blast those out, bring those to our meetings, and then obviously those suppliers on the board and on the committee that are working for larger distributors, make sure that you talk to your owners and executive committee or executive members. Next on the list, exhibitor sales. So Paul, you mentioned we had, what did you mention, 70 booths sold already?
Right. We have 70 booths sold so far, and the goal is this year is 120.
Okay. So this is where the distributors come in involved. You're going to be seeing a lot of suppliers now that it's holiday gift season. So start to ping at them. You guys hold a lot of weight versus myself or Dave to try to get a supplier to come in. So start to tell all your friends, withhold POs if you have to get them to buy a booth. Volunteer and staffing needs. So the more the merrier on this one. So the more volunteers that we can have, even though it's going to be a little bit easier than last year in terms of badges, we still need folks to help out. So the night before, obviously, if you can be available to help out the morning of, but we also know that suppliers, distributors have to be on the floor and get their own stuff ready. Paul, are we doing the Ford Field staff again?
I think we can hold on the volunteering until we get a little bit closer, but yeah, I'm assuming that once again we'll have to hire some additional help from Ford Field.
Okay. All right, good.
And then,
So
is there any way this year, once we finalize all the volunteers and stuff, like ahead of time, we know basically how many volunteers we're going to have, whether it's from Ford Field or Decker or whatnot, so that we can kind of organize them or figure out, what they're going to be doing ahead of time? Last year it was a little confusing. We had, a huge group of volunteers walk in that we didn't know we were going to have, and, clearly they would go to registration or whatever, but I just like to be planned out more.
Good. I'll have you help me with that.
Okay.
Next on the list is photographer. We decided I think that was a big part of what's going to help us this year, get more people in. We had it very well visually documented and put out on Facebook, on our website. So I think this is what's going to put us over the 1,000 attendee mark this year. So we've decided to have the photographer again. He knows our expectations. He did a very good job. I didn't hear anybody complain about it. So we have him booked for the same price as last year. So that is checked off the list.
I have a question with that.
No.
So last year, the photos that he took, when they went up online, then you had to pay for them. So I'm not sure I forget what he's charging us, but this year, can we get a file for him, or can we pay an additional fee so that we can have those photos ourselves, whether we end up hosting all the photos that were taken so that people can go there and download them or get them that way, versus, hey, they took a card from the supplier, now, your guest has to go to a website and pay $10 for a photo.
Well, we have the file, so he provided a flash drive of all of the pictures for us, and for the distributors and end users, that's something where we can decide on. The reason behind last year was we wanted to have a way for him to make some money and advertise, because he gave us a pretty good rate. And we needed a mechanism so somebody just couldn't go pull, like if I am ABC company and I'm going to go pull Chamberlain's images, that's,
right.
We needed some kind of mechanism to you had to pay to get a picture. So, we're open for whatever, but we as MIPA have the file of every single picture that's taken.
Okay.
Sponsorships, we talked about that when we were looking over the brochures. Paul, I agree with you that if it should be first come, first serve, that if somebody wants to donate lanyards, if they're paying for the lanyards, I think that's good enough. I think we struck out last year with trying to have somebody pay to be the exclusive.
Right.
I think posting it out to whoever already signed up for booths, they should get the first choice if they want to donate and be the exclusive lip balm or the exclusive pen. We get as many people as they want, as long as they're willing to pay and ship in the item. I don't know if anyone else has thoughts on that. Nope. Okay. Fantastic. Giveaways. Paul, you're already hitting people up for giveaways. Do you want to divide this up, Paul? I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Is this something that you want to maybe split up and have a couple people work on suppliers?
Would love that.
Okay.
That's great. If you got a list that's already in there, who you contacted, we can split it up. You know, many hands make light work, and just everybody makes 6, 8, 10 calls. Get some stuff donated. That'd be great. Be willing to do that.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Lead handling and clipboards, we can wait on that until we get closer. Pre-show party. Julie Russell scoped out the Punch Bowl Social, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, as a great place to have a pre-show party. She is working on our annual party, so she said if anybody wants to run with that and start calling that location to see what our options are, she will welcome the help there. So if anybody wants to take that one off of her plate, we will appreciate it. Going once.
Who's doing that one?
Punch Bowl?
Punch Social.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Who's working on that, John? I can do that.
Between you and
Okay.
Sarah, you guys.
Yeah,
can fight over
he can take that. I've got the fashion show.
it. Okay.
All right. And
Paul
who's my contact
G
over
is
at Punch?
Reach out to Julie, and I think she's got like a VIP membership card there, so she might be able to point you in the right direction.
All right, cool.
Parking, stadium tours, locker nameplates, we can push this one to our next meeting, and then schedule 9/16 board meeting with Katie. Paul, did this get scheduled yet?
No. So if Valerie and Sarah might mention that we'd like to meet in the same room that we did last year for our board meeting on that date and clear it with her. They didn't charge us for using the room for the board meeting, and gives us a great opportunity to review what's going to happen with the board, as well as as well as having a board meeting.
Okay, what was the date again? 9/16?
9/16. Yep.
Okay, I will ask her.
I think we did it. What did we do at like 4:00 last time, Paul?
I believe so. 4 or 6.
I mean, if we can
get
4, 6, it's whatever. As long as it's free, we can.
Yeah, whatever time works best for you guys.
I think that goes through the list. That gives us, we're almost at our hour mark anyways, and it's Friday, and I know Dave Glazer doesn't work on Fridays much. So we have to pack this one up. Anybody have anything that we didn't cover on this list of 23 items that you guys want to bring up?
Yeah, what's Leeds donating to this?
Don't you
You get a
worry
VIP
about
on
what
that
we're
one.
doing.
I was just going to say what a good job John Bates has been doing, but maybe I should,
Don't do that. Do not do that.
See what he
That
donates
tiny,
first. See what he donates.
that tiny little body on John does not need a big head, Dave. So don't do that.
Oh, I am so excited that you are thinking of my body, Mr. Glazer. That makes me more. You guys, I went like 54 minutes without being any dirty comments, and look at what happens when I open the floor. You guys, unbelievable. So if we have no other comments about my body, my head, or anything else, we can adjourn this. So thanks, everybody. Friday afternoon, getting together. Really appreciate it. Paul will send out his little doodle-dee for our next option, but we're looking forward to what Valerie and Sarah comes up with. And that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.